This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day, carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the First 100 podcast. This is the podcast where we explore the journey of entrepreneurs, business owners, and agency leaders as they share their strategies, challenges, and triumphs that led them to secure those first 100 customers, first 100 followers. I'm your host, and my name's Daniela, and I'm Penji's partnership coordinator. Today, I am joined here with a very special guest, Jess Bruno. Hi, Jess.
Hello.
How are you? It's great to have you today.
Yeah, no, I'm very good, thank you. I'm so excited for today and to have this chat.
We are too. So, for anybody watching that doesn't know about you, doesn't know who you are, what you do, can you tell us a little bit about yourself as an introduction?
For sure. So, I'm Jess Bruno. I help small business owners scale and grow their businesses with content. So, that can be anything from their first few posts, or maybe they've been in business for a little while and they're looking to really understand who their target audience is and kind of grow. And yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. So, you look very young. Do you mind if I ask, how did you get into the content marketing business, especially for small business owners? How did you get your start? What's the story behind it?
Sure. I'm 32. So I'm not too young. So now I look younger.
I was thinking, like, you don't look 32.
I know I'm 32 years old, so I'm not that young. But when I was 18, 19, I started working in the event industry, and then in events, the job roles I had anyway, they always came with having to also market the event. So that's where I learned about a little bit about like bootstrap marketing, doing it kind of all DIY, learning on the job. That's how I got started.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, you got to give me your skincare routine for sure because you look like you're 22, I swear. Um, so what when did you actually start doing this whole thing of making an agency and starting on content marketing?
Sure. I haven't got an agency. It's just me. I work with my clients one on one, but I started planting the seeds in 2019, but in 2020 things started really kicking off. I started my business. I didn't think that I'd ever do it. I didn't think I'd ever start a business. It was not really my plan. Until lockdown happened and all of my friends who were in the creative industries, they started their own businesses because the creative industry has kind of dried up completely. And so
Okay.
I have friends who were doing like a postbox brownie business. Some people started resin businesses. Some people wanted to grow their personal brands. And because they knew my background and kind of the bigger corporate companies I was working with, they all were messaging me asking for advice. And so one day I thought, well, maybe I've got so many people asking me that maybe I should just do an Instagram post about it. I can just direct people there. And that's how it started.
That's, I've heard a lot of people who like had that situation during COVID where they were out of a job or, like things were just like completely lost and they started to pursue their own sort of affairs. And I think it's
Yeah.
really cool because in a way it helps you kind of find your own path, even if it was a really strange way of getting there, right?
I mean, it was still, for me, it's in my same industry. So I kind of slipped in quite nicely. But for my clients and especially my friends who were starting their businesses, it was something completely
Sudden.
alien to them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine how overwhelming that is. So I wanted to ask, since you've been sort of starting this, how was the process of actually getting clients to work with you? Because I think a lot of people who want to start their own creative endeavors or make their own businesses or whatever it is are really worried that, like I can like probably set a store up for my product or I can set whatever business up, but I can't guarantee that people are gonna come and purchase it or I'm gonna get clients. How were you able to navigate that?
I think the everything's really changed since 2020 from a buyer perspective. In 2020, especially for the online business world, it was a case of setting up a store, posting about it on Instagram, and you'll get a bit more eyes on you right there because people are looking. But now the it's all changed and it's always going to change. Nothing's ever going to stay the same. So my advice to previously, when I first started, I was doing a lot of outreach. I was doing a lot of networking, online networking, and I was just, putting myself out there. I also had the advantage of people coming directly to me because they knew my background. But if I was to start my business now, I would say, and let's say I'm completely new and I don't have any links. No one knows of me. I would say in real person networking is huge, huge. You want to find communities that have a wealth of your target audience and get yourself in that group. Get yourself in that group. And you can also do that online. You can do that virtually as well. But if you want to get clients, I would say try, and you've just started, I try and go to at least one networking thing a week. That might sound like a lot, but there is so many out there that you could go to. And that could be a mix of online and offline.
Yeah, that's true. I think networking is very important. And I think now, especially since I guess Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and all of the social media sites are very oversaturated with content creators. It can be a little bit harder to stand out for someone who wants to get that out there, right?
Especially in the beginning. I say in your first year, it's going to be very difficult to stand out because you don't know yourself, you don't know your business, you don't really know your target audiences. And I love that period. And I work with so many people there, but you are testing, testing, testing. And that's a wonderful time. But in your first year of business, as well as that kind of testing phase, you're going to want to go out there and speak to real people as well.
So actually, within that content marketing area, that's kind of your bread and butter, right? That's where you specialize for small businesses. And I think I wanted to ask you, we've seen the sort of surge of content marketing being very popular with big corporations as well. I think I have never seen so many brands being so active on social media than I do now in the way that they are now, which is very particular. I think we see a lot of brands being very memeable, very youthful, making a lot of like funny jokes, videos, trendy topics, things like that. And it works for big brands, right? But for small businesses or a small business owner who wants to get their name out there through social media, it might be a different strategy. Can you tell us a little bit about that difference? Because I think I've seen a lot of bigger companies do this and it works for them, but when a small business does it, I don't know how, they're actually pulling in customers from making a trendy video.
So are you talking about how can a small business owner use trends and use like memeable content to leverage when they've got a small following or maybe they've just started? Is that what you're saying?
What's the difference for content marketing for a small business versus a big company? Because I think I've noticed big companies kind of just focus more on like doing a bunch of memes and funny trends and, things that are not necessarily driving sales. Whereas a small business owner, I think the main purpose for a small business owner is to grow that business, right? To get more clients, to get that name out there.
No, for sure. I mean, the big difference, number one, is budget. Big businesses have got massive budgets, so of course they can as much as their front-facing profiles will look maybe memeable, they're using trends, they're not really talking about their whys or anything. They are most probably running dark ads that focus all on the why, the how to purchase, and they're using marketing methods outside of social media like SEO, and they're using their blog, and they've got so many different pockets and spaces where they're plugging into, which gives them the advantage to not they've done their due diligence over the years. They're a big business for a reason. They don't really have to tell you, "Hi, I'm the founder. My name is this person, and this is why I started Nike." You know, they don't have to do that anymore. When it comes to a small business, you don't have as much resources. You don't have as much time. You don't have as much money. You don't have a team around you. So you're going to want to really target your energy into what is gonna I hate saying this phrase, but what is gonna move the needle for your business, right? What is it? And I say to my small business owners, it's different for everyone, but focus on what you're good at. Like, if you're really good at trends, like, do the trends. If that comes easy to you, if that comes quickly to you, do them. But you're gonna want to make sure you've got like the groundwork first. So I like to say to my small business owners to have like strategically, if we're talking in Instagram or TikTok, have strategic pin posts. So if someone does find your business via a trend and they come to your page, they understand exactly who you are and what you're doing and how to buy from you. You want to make that process really, really easy. But when it comes to replicating what big brands are doing with their content, yeah, you can do memeable stuff, you can do trending stuff, but do whatever works for you.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice because if you are trying to force yourself to do something that you're not good at, it's not going to come out very well. Yeah, for sure. Can you tell us then a case study where you have had helped someone grow within content marketing and that has significantly improved their business or their growth?
I worked with 300 people in the last since I started my business, so I've got case studies and case studies. I could be here with you for hours, but I want to put on a client that I worked with very recently, and they're a small business. If we're talking to small businesses, they're in quantifiable terms, they have 3,000 followers on their Instagram and about 2,500 on their TikTok, and they've been running their business for about 4 years. And they run a product-based business where they sell stickers and print and little stuff like that, right? We started working together, and they said, I've got an idea for this product. I've been sat on it for ages." And well, I just said, why have you not posted it? Why are you not talking about it?" And they're waiting for perfection. Or a lot of my clients, when they come to me, wait for the perfect post, wait for the perfect time, has to look a certain way. And I said, I want you to make something easy as possible, okay? And just tell people exactly what it is, how to purchase it, right? And they've got a good following on both accounts, nothing to go home about, nothing to like say they've vanity wise, they're not over that 10K mark, they're nowhere near the 100K mark, and it might be perceived from outside as not a big business or not a, proper business when you don't have those numbers, right? But my whole thing and what I specialize in is helping smaller figures, smaller numbers of profiles their following, to monetize their following so they can scale. And so we created a campaign, and that campaign led to 2 viral posts on TikTok and 1 on Reels, and she had to restock the product that she was too scared to post 4 times because it kept selling out. And that was because a few mindset shifts around not having to worry about perfection, but also knowing that they can post unapologetic content that tells people exactly how to buy your stuff without worrying that anyone's gonna be annoyed. And then people will do it.
That's very like, I think what's really interesting about it is that I guess when you're in the place of having to do it, you get in your head about it, right? Like you said, like you're waiting for that moment to have the perfect moment, the perfect video, the perfect everything. And
Yeah.
when you actually just go with it, with what you've got, the results can be really amazing. And it's just like simple, you know?
Simple. It was a really simple video. They didn't book out a studio. They just filmed it at home. They made it. You have to make it clear. There are a few things that I'm always like groundwork, right? Good lighting, good visual, clear caption, add in your like keywords. Make sure you make it personable to you, whatever makes sense for your brand, your target audience. Like we ticked all those boxes, right? We did the strategy work to do it, but it was more of the mindset shift of okay, I'm going to use what I've got. I'm going to put something out there and I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep putting out there till something sticks. And for us, something sticks very quickly. It stuck very, very quickly. And we had that incredible launch very recently.
That's great. That's like very interesting. I also wanted to ask, since I think content marketing requires a lot of like content creation, and a lot of sort of staying up to date with trends, not necessarily because you follow them, but sometimes I think it's always good to know what's going on with the zeitgeist and social media in general. Um, but I think I've seen a lot of people who want to use content marketing for business growth and they struggle with actually executing that. Like, even if they have all the back end stuff figured out, I guess, and they know like, okay, this is my goal, this is my strategy, this is what I'm going to be doing. But then it's really difficult to actually get in front of a camera, film, make a decent video, even if it's really simple, and then actually go ahead and post it. And then, I think I've also seen a lot of people who struggle with, I can like come up with maybe 10, 20 videos, but then after the 20th video mark, I'm dried out. Like, I don't know what else to make, and this is not my thing. How do you help people with that? How can you ensure that your content remains fresh, that it remains relevant, that your ideas are flowing, especially for people who probably don't naturally have a knack for this or, you know, are just doing this to promote their business?
I always go back when someone comes to me and they say the things that you've said to me. I've got the strategy. I've got this. I've got notes on notes. I've got so many saved audios. I've got so many content ideas. The implementation is my problem, and just showing up is my problem, and making content my problem. I always say to them, "Why did you start your business in the first place? What lights that fire in your belly? What would you go stand on top of a hill and shout about? Why is your business there in the first place?" When you can find that white that silver lining in the middle, that is the bones of your business, that's the heart of your business, like that's when content becomes really easy because you'll get to be comfortable with saying the same thing over and over again. Oh, sorry, hang on. My Alexa's gonna tell me I've got a meeting in 10 minutes. Okay. Alexa, thank you. But yeah, when you've got passion, content becomes really easy. You don't care what it looks like. And when you start like shouting and banging that drum on what you care about, like people start listening. People start listening. So I work with my clients to find what they'll feel comfortable with saying again and again and again and again, because your business, you don't have to have 20 ideas. You could have 5 really, really good ideas that you just go around and round and round again on and do different ways of doing it.
Well, that's very interesting, because I think a lot of people are just trying to come up with like a million things so that they always have like fresh new stuff. But
It's
working
still
with
fresh.
yeah,
It's still fresh, but you want something that's gonna be timeless.
yeah, something that I guess people can go back to watch even if it's 2, 3 years later, right?
Exactly. I think the where content is going, yes, it's quick. Yes, it's evergreen, but another kind of thing about one of my clients, she just had her August off. She had the whole of August off and she was still getting leads. She was still getting people booking in with her because content does have more of an evergreen path now. Like even on TikTok, you're promoted videos that are made a year ago, that are made 3 months ago. The same with Reels as well. Like it feels like content is this fast-paced thing that's going to disappear, but it's not.
Actually, I agree because I had an experience with like I went on a glamping trip like in 2021, December of 2021. I went glamping and I made this random video because I'm not an influencer, you know. I don't make content or anything. I just made this random TikTok of myself glamping because I thought the place was cool. And I recorded like, you know, the facility and I was like, "Oh, this is a great weekend." And for some reason the video went viral. I mean, I wouldn't say viral, but it was really popular. And for someone who had like 10 followers, I was a bit like, "What?" Like, you know, because I had, like it has, like, I think, like, 200,000 views of people and a bunch of comments to this day of people mentioning each other and commenting and, like,
Oh,
saying stuff about, like, "Let's go," like and then a lot of people were asking me for, like, the address and stuff, like, I was, like, a travel influencer, and I was like, "I'm really not." And I mean, I'm not a TikToker, but I'm like that video that I made years ago, and I'm not like consistent with my posting or anything like that because I mostly just do it for fun.
yeah.
When I feel like posting whatever. And that particular video is still doing really like I will still get people sort of interacting with it. Obviously not as much as when I posted it, but I'm just like, why are they still watching this? It's been years.
Literally, it's just how social media works. Some things, if it's not a good post, and I'm sorry to say that, but if it's not a good post, it might only have a 24-hour lifespan, right? But if you create a good piece of content, it has the power to live on and on and on.
Yeah, that's true. I agree, 'cause I was kinda, like, baffled, and my friend, I even told him about it, and he was like, "Well, 'cause you made the video extremely, like, perfect for social media," and I was like, "I didn't do it on purpose, it was just a really pretty place."
Yeah.
But it definitely did really well, so I see what you mean, and being able to take that sort of situation and being able to strategize it and put it into this growth of a small business can make it very lucrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, Jess, it's been great having you on the podcast today. Had a lot of fun and learned a lot from you. For anybody who would want to get your coaching, learn more about you, or you know, use your services, can you tell us a little bit about where we can go find you and what we can expect from you there? The floor is yours to tell us about you more.
If you want help and you've got a small business, then I would say check out my membership called the Content Club. We've got 100 small businesses in there right now. And inside, you get weekly group coaching plus an amazing community and templates to help you never wake up and be like, I don't know what to post. That's done. You'll know you have a post for every single day. Plus, every week we send you a trend report for TikTok and Reels. You get that on a Friday, so you can be trending or have a chance to get an extra bit of boost for your business, as well as like a script and a how to. It's all done for you. That's only £1 a day. Also, you can work with me one to one. Just come over to my Instagram at Grow with Jess Bruno. You can find me there and we can chat in the DMs to see I can learn more about your business and to see if one to one is something that you want to do.
Awesome, perfect. I will be adding your links to the description of this so that anybody who wants to go find you, they can find you. It's been great having you today, Jess. Very grateful for everything. And for everybody watching, I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend, and of course, subscribe.